Edward Titchener's Structuralism. Key concepts. Edward Bradford Titchener, a British psychologist and one of Wilhelm Wundt's most prominent students, is best known for developing structuralism, one of the earliest schools of thought in psychology. Structuralism sought to understand the structure of the human mind by analyzing its basic components, much like a chemist breaks down compounds into elements. Titchener aimed to discover the fundamental building blocks of consciousness, and to explain how these elements combine to form more complex mental experiences. At the core of Titchener's structuralism is the idea that psychology should focus on the study of conscious experience. He believed that the primary goal of psychology was to identify the structure of the mind, the underlying elements of thoughts, sensations, and feelings, and understand how they interact. For Titchener, mental processes could be broken down into their simplest components and systematically studied to reveal how they give rise to the complexities of human consciousness. The method of introspection was central to Titchener's approach. Introspection involved trained observers describing their conscious experiences in response to stimuli in the most objective and detailed way possible. These participants were asked to report the basic sensory experiences, such as color, sound, texture, or taste, without interpreting them. Titchener emphasized that introspection required careful training to avoid subjective bias and to ensure that reports were limited to immediate experiences, not memories or associations. Through introspection, he sought to catalog the elements of consciousness and understand their relationships. Titchener proposed that the structure of the mind could be understood through three main components: sensations, images, and affections. Sensations were the basic elements of perception, such as visual or auditory experiences. Images represented ideas or memories, and affections referred to the elements of emotion. He believed that these mental elements combined according to specific laws to form more complex mental states, similar to how atoms combine to form molecules. Another key concept in structuralism is the distinction between what and why of mental processes. Titchener argued that psychology should study what consciousness is, especially its structure, rather than why it functions as it does, a question better suited to philosophy or biology. This position contrasted sharply with William James's functionalism, which emphasized the purpose of mental processes rather than their components. Although structuralism eventually declined due to criticisms of its reliance on subjective introspection, Titchener's work laid the groundwork for experimental psychology. His emphasis on systematic observation, mental analysis, and methodological rigor helped establish psychology as a scientific discipline and opened pathways for later approaches, including behaviorism and cognitive psychology.